This is the second video focusing on target setting. The first video focused on step 1 and 2. This video was focused on step 3, 4, 5 and 6. Walking through a target. So again, our example is attendance. This is the same example we used in the previous video. Step 3, analyze and make judgments. So this is step 3 of our 6-step process, analyze and make judgments. So we started with a part of a SMART target in the first video, and we keep adding on to it until it's completely SMART by the end. So we started with to decrease the percentage of 5th year students with partial absences from 40%. So to decrease was the verb. 5th year students with partial absences was the thing affected, and 40% was the baseline. So we're going to add on to that now. To 35% by the end of year 1, 30% by the end of year 2, and 25% by the end of year 3. How could focus group data be used to ascertain why the students have partial absences and how these partial absences could be alleviated through effective teaching and learning? Meaningful targets. Key questions for schools to consider. What do we want to improve? Why do we want to improve this? How can this be achieved? Which students need to be targeted? What is a SMART target? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timed. Specific. Targets should aim to meet the needs of a clearly specified group. Measurable. Targets should include data to facilitate measurement of the target. Achievable. Targets should be achievable, informed by capturing the abilities of the targeted group. Realistic. Targets should be appropriate for the targeted group and reflect the context of the school. Timed. Targets should clearly articulate when the target is expected to be achieved. Identification of at-risk cohorts. SMART targets should be set for the students on a categorized basis to ensure that they reflect the various cohorts of pupils, students within the school. Example, pupils or students with English as an additional language. Pupils or students who have poor attendance punctuality. Pupils or students with poor engagement in class. Pupils or students underperforming in literacy or numeracy. Department of Education 2022. Identification of at-risk cohorts. How do you identify and integrate at-risk cohorts into SMART target setting in your school? What data do you use to identify these at-risk groups? Targets should meet the needs of students most at risk. Consider at-risk students within your DEIS school contexts. Consider your assigned DEIS theme. Devise a target within this theme to meet the needs of the at-risk students you have identified. Step 4. Write and share DEIS action plan for improvement. So this is step 4 of our 6-step process. So inside our DEIS action planning framework, there are 8 individual themes. There will be an annual review of the DEIS action plan for improvement. And there will be a summary of DEIS action plan for improvement for the community. Step 5, putting the DEIS plan into action. So this is step 5 of our 6-step process. Emphasizing effective teaching and learning. Subject department meetings. Crow Park hours. Continuous professional development. Linking with digital planning. 8 DEIS teams. Step 6, monitoring and evaluating. So step 6 of our 6-step process. So this is our example again of our attendance target. To decrease the percentage of 5th year students with partial absences from 40% to 35% by the end of year 1, 30% by the end of year 2, and 25% by the end of year 3. What impact could the process of monitoring and evaluating have on this target? Reflecting on your DEIS plan. Are the targets in your DEIS plan SMART? Are the targets related to learner outcomes and experiences? Are targets clearly aimed towards at-risk cohorts? This is the formula and language of targets. We start with a verb, so some examples of some verbs you could use in your targets. To increase, to raise, to expand, to meet, to decrease, to cut, to reduce, to complete. Next comes the thing affected. Then we have the baseline from the data you've gathered. Then the level intended, and by what date. So here is another example of a SMART target. To increase the percentage of pupils taking higher level from 60% to 65% by the end of year 1, 70% by the end of year 2, and 75% by the end of year 3. So to increase is the verb. Pupils taking higher level is the thing affected. 60% is the baseline. 65% is the level intended at the end of year 1. 70% is the level intended at the end of year 2. And 75% is the level intended at the end of year 3. Targets are student-focused, evidence-based, have baseline data, and a measure of where it is going.